This is the I Love Success podcast. I'm Peter Jarboh, and I have made a vow to myself to help as many people as possible to achieve their dreams. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the I Love Success podcast. I am continuing my world tour. Yesterday I was in Toronto and spoke with, I should say, virtual world tour though. Yesterday I was in Toronto and spoke with Carmichael. He's the co-founder of one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world for entrepreneurs. Today I'm traveling all the way through Wollongong, Australia, to talk with a guy that I truly admire. I am a martial artist and I love to see what he has done. We have the same Macedonian heritage, which makes it even cooler for me to talk to him. And he's a guy who was a rugby player, an athlete, always wanted to be a champion. And he even went out and told his friends, I'm going to be a UFC champion. And this is way before he even started training MMA. And I think that's super cool how we can visualize things and then go out and really do it. And that being said, he did it. He's the current UFC Featherweight Champion. He beat Max Holloway in an incredible fashion. Yeah, so I'm just super excited to be here with you today, Alex. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the great intro as well. So
Yeah,
appreciate it.
so I just want to kind of go back to your early childhood. When did you know that you were a competitor, that you liked winning, that you liked put yourself in hard situations?
Uh, it's a tricky one. I guess mainly when I started probably wrestling and rugby league. So I played soccer before that. And to be quite honest, I don't. If out of all the sports I tried, soccer was probably the worst. I wasn't. I wouldn't say I was really bad, but I wasn't. One of the best. And I'm pretty competitive, so that wasn't good enough for me. Then I went to wrestling, and actually that was what I was really good at. But then I wanted to play football with my mates and things like that. So probably when I was wrestling, because I was a kid that I remember actually. This is at one time when I was we were at like a presentation. It might have been for wrestling. It wasn't just my team. It was like maybe for wrestling around Sydney, and I don't know how to sort of describe it, but I remember going there, and there was these kids or like older kids that went and pointed at me, goes, "Oh, there's that kid, like he beats up all the older kids." Like, because I was always pretty heavy set as a young
Yeah.
kid, so I was when I was 12, I was always versing 14 and 15-year-olds, which is pretty at that age is a big difference. So that maturity at that age is it's very, again, when you let's like versing your older brother, you're always going to get beat up by your older brother type thing. So that's how it was. And I remember these guys goes, "Oh, that's that kid that beats up all the older kids," and like that sort of just made me realize, like, oh, I'm known for being like out wrestling older kids, and like it sort of made me realize, oh, maybe I'm a little bit different to people. And obviously I was getting a lot of gold medals and doing really well, but I reckon that was where I decided that, oh yeah, maybe I am pretty good at this. You know what I mean? Even though I was getting the goals, I guess I didn't really have that confidence. But then hearing someone else that I did not know recognize me for that sort of made me realize, oh, maybe this is something I could do. But I was really young at the time.
That's awesome. And you're talking about being a little bit heavy set, and you should check Alex's Instagram out to see how heavy set he actually was. But talking about being heavy set when you were a kid, did that affect you in any way, like in school with friends? Because I myself was overweight, and I had a hard time, connecting with friends, or they had a hard time connecting with me. They actually bullied me. I should say that. But martial arts kind of gave me confidence. I'm just curious, did this affect you at all, or?
Uh, no, not really. To be honest, obviously I've had people question it here and there, but the funny thing is, when I was younger, I didn't think I was that overweight. Like, I look at them photos now. Like, I remember thinking that oh yeah, I was bulky. I fought like a, I had a good fit body type thing, until I started looking back, and then again, I would hear people say that to me, but I wouldn't be offended by it because I'd be like, why is he calling me that for? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain. Because I was playing rugby league, and I guess at that stage, that was when I was at my heaviest.
Yeah.
And I was pretty popular because of my rugby league and all that. So it didn't. So I'll be lying if I said I was bullied with it.
That's
But
great.
but in saying that, people did say it, but I guess I didn't let it get to me because I didn't believe it at the time. Or was it because I didn't care? I don't know. It's a tricky one. But I look back now, and and not only do I see them photos, which there's nothing wrong with it, but I know how I was eating back then. I know how unhealthy I was. Like, I remember I would eat whatever I wanted. I would have like a dinner, and I'm talking like I would have a mountain of food on it, and I have 6 pieces of bread with it. That's just how I ate, and it was just normal. I would eat till I was completely full every time. And now like when it sounds bad, but like I don't get as full because I've I was eating like that my whole life. I don't really get
Yeah.
as full as I used to. But at the same time, the lifestyle change and everything has worked better for me. Obviously, for my style of or what I do. Sorry, fighting, and not just that, just healthier. I feel a lot better. You know what I mean? I can, I feel like I've got more energy now because I use that energy wisely, and I put the right foods in, as they say, the fuel for the body. So, I just look at that and I know sort of how I was treating my body then.
Yeah.
And then now I know that, this sort of career that I've chosen, the fighting style, has changed my lifestyle for the better.
Yeah. And talking about mindset and confidence, it seems like you were early on very confident. And I studied success. And I remember studying you when I was watching Embedded before the Max Holloway fight. And you were so calm, and you were just, I watched you, and because I watch all the fighters on all these interviews and the walk-ins, and I tried to look them in the eye and kind of analyze. And I could see this guy, he's gonna win. So where does that mindset and confidence comes from?
This is a tricky one. I think it's always like, I wouldn't say I think, I'm pretty sure it's from day one as a competitor. I've always, so when people say some people are just bred different, as if it's built in them. I believe that. I believe that you are bred, when it comes to hard work and, mind state and all things like that. I believe that there might be something in you that's a little bit different, but again, you need to still work to that. So if it is something like, having that extra heart that's going to make you want to do more, but then from you continuously pushing yourself because of that, or again, as you're saying, with my mindset, I'm always keeping myself composed. I want to be where I feel is best. Yes, I'll put myself in a position that will make me the best I can be. So whether it's in an interview, whether it's when I'm about to fight, me being composed, me relaxing myself is where I can, properly pay attention and do what needs to be done. I've done that from day one. Always try to compose myself. So I put myself where now that's just normal. If you've ever watched my interviews, I always say, like, I just feel so normal all year round. No matter, I won the title. I've got a video that I'm actually going to be putting up in the next couple of days. It's me holding the belt, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh no, someone goes, oh yeah, here's the belt for the photo. I'm like, oh yeah, already, like, this was straight after my fight. I completely forgot that I just won the world title. I'm like, oh yeah, the bloody world title. So I chucked that on, man. Like, someone goes, oh, how's that going to look on your wall? I mean, I need to let it properly sink in. I'm like, wake up, you're the bloody champ. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's something that I think I'm so used to keep myself level-headed, so composed that's, I've done that from day one, and now that's how I am. So I walk out to these fights completely focused, completely normal, I guess you could say, as in composed, I guess, ready to do whatever needs to be done. And I think that does separate me from some people, because I see people backstage, I guess if you're watching a lot of Embedded or you watch a lot of backstage stuff, you'll see people put the headphones on like this, sitting there in the corner, amping themselves up. They even get the frown going and really put themselves in a position that they're not used to, I believe, and I'm the type of person that I don't want to get there. I want to be able to know exactly what I'm doing while I'm walking to the cage, while I'm in there. I've got a game plan to stick to. I want to see these punches he's throwing. I want to see what he's setting up. So I've always just kept myself so composed. And I just think from day one, since I first started competing, from me trying to keep myself that way, I believe that that's what's made me who I am today. It made me that composed. I guess you would say confident, because I know I'm going to stick to a game plan. I know my team believe in me. I believe in myself, and I know I'm going to do what we think's going to get me that win. So that's why I'm so confident. I know I'm going to go and do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's partly being committed to the process, but can you be unattached to the outcome? Because there is a saying, be committed to the process and unattached to the outcome. And we see these amazing athletes, once they start getting to their head, they start losing. Can you just talk about that? And like, how do you work with that?
Well, that's probably exactly what it is. It's how did you say that? How did you say that?
Committed to the process and unattached to the outcome.
Mate, I agree with that. I think that is exactly what it is. I've never really explained it exactly like that, but I always say, because I'm keeping myself so composed, it's hard for me to sort of rise up to be like, oh, you know what I mean? I will always be like, it's more of a relief for me.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm all right, I'm going to keep myself, really level-headed. I've got to keep myself composed. Don't let nothing. And then once I win, I will be like, yeah, cool. But I mean, I'm more, oh, all right, it's over. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? Finally, it's over. All right, sweet. I've got the win now. I can go home. But I am, while I'm looking at the belt, I'll get a little bit of excitement and then I completely forget about it, because so I actually agree with that 100%. That unattached sort of feeling to the success. I think it is like that, and I think it even rubs off of my wife, because we talk about this. Yeah. We always talk about, I'm like, maybe because we're both sort of like that, we rub off on each other that way. And even she says that, something like, we don't get excited for anything anymore. It almost seems like, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean, it's just, but it's hard. It's like,
I think it's part of being a martial artist, right? If we look at I don't know if you read the old books of the samurais, and their job is to stay composed, right? To be in the moment, because as soon as you're not in the moment, they say it, when you're in your head, you're dead, right? So when you're in that moment, then you can act fluidly. You can see things coming. Bruce Lee talked about this as a fighter, right? Seeing it almost from his perspective when he was fighting. If I can see it, if I can even stand on the side or above, I can see everything in my fighting. So do you fear losing?
If there's a fear, it's fear of losing. There's no fear of getting punched in the face. There's no fear of, being in pain. Even if I've tore my intercostal muscle. So my rib intercostal muscle, like 2 days before my fight. And I was in agony. Like, I thought I wasn't even going to make the fight, which is, again, I do this. If you watch what I'm always talking about, I fight for my family. This is my career path. This is what I chose. I need that money for my family. I need to fight, especially back then when this happened. I was in need of the money a little more than I would be now.
Yeah.
And and then that was worried because I wouldn't be able to fight. And then not just that, I wasn't worried about the pain while I was going to fight, but I was worried about, will that pain lead me to lose? Or will this punch that he lands, I don't care about it hurting me. Will that lead me to him knocking me out and me losing? That's the real fear, me losing and being 4 steps back. Yeah. Punch me in the face all you want. I'll be in as much pain as I can the next day. It does not matter to me. This is another thing that Aldo's always ask, if you're an Aldo fan, about his leg kicks. Why doesn't he kick anymore? And I've heard him say it's because of the pain the next day. Like, he'll kick and then he can't walk for weeks because of his shins. And I know what he's talking about, because my last few fights I've done, that's been a lot of what I've done. But I don't care about the pain afterwards. I need to win. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. If them kicks are going to get me the win, I'll be sore for the next 2-3 weeks. I don't care, you know, because it's going to get me the win. You know, if I believe that drawing him into a punch, and if for some reason me getting punched in the face was going to lead me to knock this guy out, and I was drawing him into, you know, I wouldn't do this, but I'm just saying, I would eat that punch every day of the week just so I can land that KO punch, knowing that will get me the win. I'm not scared of getting punched, getting hurt. I'm scared of losing, the fear of 4 steps back, the fear of my family missing out because I lose. You know, that's something that fears me.
And how do you deal with that? Because we all have fear. What's your process of dealing with that? Let's just go back to the Max Holloway fight. You're so fucking close of becoming a champion, and now a couple of days before you get injured. And for me, that's just the universe asking you how bad you fucking want it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you deal with that?
It's again, it's I need to win. Yeah. That's it. That's all it is. It's that I need to win. And so, what was that exact question you said at the start of that question? I wanted to answer that properly.
Yeah. So you are what? Like, can you just go back to your headspace? Like a couple of days before the fight, you're injured, and now you're so close of fulfilling a dream, and you need the money. This is important. This is a step forward. What do you do? Like, how do you process that and still move forward and do such a great performance?
It's just, again, I need to do whatever needs to be done to win. And that's why me keeping myself composed, me sticking to a game plan, you know, even when it comes back to being in the gym. Yeah. So when I busted my rib, that was before the Darren Elkins fight. Yeah. That one was not the Max Holloway fight.
Okay.
But I mean, when you ask that question, as in, you know, what makes you want to do it? Like even in the gym, the fact that I need to win. So what do I need to do to win? Every day I'm in the gym, I need to push myself. I need to put myself in a position come fight time. I'm the best version of myself that can be. That's going to give me the most chance of winning. Then me being composed, I need to stay composed because that could, you know, every little bit counts. Me making weight easier, you know, instead of me doing a big weight cut and then maybe feeling funny the next day. You know, all these little things that you want to be the best version of yourself. And to do that, there's going to be a lot of hard work in camp, a lot of hard work during the fight, a lot of focus, a lot of everything. And all these little things is, you know, all these little 1%ers, it can really help you reach that goal. And that's what helps me training as well. A lot of people ask me, you know, man, watching, because I pride myself on being a hard worker. Anyone that sees me in the gym knows I'm always pushing myself. It hurts. It hurts to push yourself. It hurts to be grinding like that. But I'm so used to that now because I've done it my whole life. But not just that, I know if I'm so fit, I know if I'm so ready that, you know, come fight time, that's one less worry I need to worry about. I'm fit enough. I don't need to worry about gassing now. Yeah. So I can just worry about my game plan. And you get what I mean? Everything revolves around being the best version of myself. And that goes back from weight cutting, making sure that goes right, training, in them jiu-jitsu classes that I'm doing, understanding these, you know, these movements and, you know, not just going, oh, I'm tired, I'm just going to go through the motion. No, I still want to learn. I want to know why that move is going to help me. What are the mechanics behind that? You know, in this strike, you know, I don't want to just be like, oh, this is a good combo. All right, why does that combo work? Oh, because of this is this. You know, and as I've said many times, it's, you show me one combo and show me why it works. The mechanics and the, you know, the principles of it can show me so many different things, whether it is more combos or even the principles in life, the principles in everything. You know what I mean? I believe that there's so much you can learn. There's reasons why that's so effective. I want to understand them so I can use them in so many different ways.
I love that. And Alex, how far, if there was an energy bar right now from 1 to 100%, how far do you feel that you are developed? How much is it left for you to develop as a fighter?
Man, it's going to keep going. So for me to say, the beauty of it right now, from the knowledge we have, I'm starting to get close. I believe I am close, but the beauty of mixed martial arts or a lot of things and the knowledge, and then there's so many ways where it's weight cut science or you know, understanding the game. Everything's evolving all the time. So I might feel like I'm getting close to the end, but then the game evolves. I evolve with it. And this just keeps going. And that's how we look at it. The camps that we do, we don't just, again, we don't just go for the motion. There's, you know, people look at me and they see us do a lot of fakes and feints. And you can look at that as, oh yeah, you're just trying to draw a reaction or whatever it is. But we go so much deeper than that. We use them for so many different things. And like, you know, I want people to fight my fight. So me being so composed, I get them fighting my fight. So that's why I love to be, you know, as you said with Bruce Lee, I want to be as a composed and ready. So all my movements, I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm doing it. And I'm getting them following me, you know, whether it's them adjusting because it's natural instinct, they don't even know. And I'm using that against them. You know, that's how deep we go. That is literally how deep we go. I don't want to give too much away, but you know what I mean?
Totally
So,
understand.
but you get what I mean? So it goes so much deeper than just being able to throw big punches, throw big kicks. You know, there's mechanics behind it. There's, you know, camouflage movements. There's everything. And that's, I believe, you know, we go deeper than most because I believe we're ahead of the game with the knowledge that's out there. We're right up there. I believe that. But there's going to be a time where it starts to go again. Like the game's going to evolve.
Yeah.
We are looking to see what else works. We will evolve with it. So there's no real 100. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
That 100 is going to keep moving further because the game's evolving, and I'm just going to keep moving with it. So that's actually, I love it. I love that. So that's motivating. You know, that's motivating to know that.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I believe that right now. I try and tell everyone, oh, we're ahead of the game. But the beauty thing is like, oh yeah, is this the best version of myself? Nah, because we're going to find new things, or people will find new things. Someone's going to show us something that we think, oh wow, that worked because of this. Oh cool, that's something we could use. Yeah, we level up again. So it's cool.
How much of being an athlete or a UFC fighter and a champion is mental, and how much is physical?
Man, they say, what do they say? 70% mental, 30% physical. Is that what they say? Something like, I know there's big
There are
numbers like
different
that.
versions, but what's your, like, what do you think?
Me, mental side of things is so effective. But again, you know, working hard and training hard and putting you know, you need to be fit and ready so you can be confident as well. You know what I mean? My confidence comes from how my camp went as well. So you know what I mean? My mental side, if I haven't had a good camp, if I wasn't if I wasn't doing all that physical stuff, would my mental state be where it is? I believe the beauty of the mental state, I believe I will still find another way. So that's why I still think the mental side of things is so effective, because I'm not fit. So I need to use my brain and be like, all right, this is a short notice fight, but this is a big opportunity. I'm making good money. I need to fight anyway. How can I win? All right, so I'm going to work ways around it. So you need to be composed, as I always say. You're going to have to strategize, and you need to be very level-headed, and you need to really be able to control that mental side of you to be able to do that. So I guess I am leaning towards the mental side, but again, I'm all about that hard work. Them 1%ers that I'm doing in the gym really, really do make a big difference. So, you know, I can, you know, you could be on the money, you know, mental side of things on the money, and then this guy's just figuring you out and beating you. But your gas tank, again, I believe my gas tank so much that might change mid-fight because he's starting to gas and I won't. So, you know what I mean? They're both so effective, but you need to have both. So I'll say 50-50.
I like that. And one thing that I've noticed, I was an athlete for many years, and everything I do in my life, when I do the work, I get more confidence. I get mentally stronger because I have this in my back. I know no one worked harder than me to accomplish this. That gives me a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
Yep. 100%.
So
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so again, it made me think of training. So I'm saying the physical side, you need to train your ass off.
Yeah.
But then you need to be mentally strong to be able to push yourself them extra. You know, I'm talking about, I've always, since day one, pushed myself so much that like I've always went that little more than what, look, I can get away with going at this level. I can get away with that. But I believe if I push myself that little bit more, you know, that's where I can reach a lot better goals. But you need that mental side of things as well. So it's just, they both go hand in hand. Being mentally strong does go a long way. And again, if you're sort of starting your MMA career being headstrong and being able to push yourself even when you are unfit, but you will always go that little bit further, that will get you where. So, you know, now I'm leaning more towards mental. So I get it. That's what I mean. I go too deep into things sometimes. It makes me who I am, but it's good. But that's why I believe now that I look at it, you know, maybe I'm going 55-45 mental.
Love it. So I'll ask you one more time before the end of the conversation. Alex, just curious, to become a champion, I was an athlete for many years. I was a world medalist, and you have to sometimes be selfish, you know, how hard you work, and you want to be a champion. I know you even said it on the Joe Rogan experience that you love that you are actually the cause of winning or losing. There's no one that you can blame if you don't perform. So how much is ego involved in becoming a champion? And is that an enemy or a friend?
Ego. Well, so the reason why I come up with that analogy, is that the right word, is because of, I used to play rugby league. I might have said this on the Joe Rogan. So I played rugby league, a team sport, and you can have the best game of your life and lose. You know what I mean? And I'm not putting that on my teammates, but I mean, you know, a few things go wrong. Like, again, you had the best game. You made 400 meters during that game. You didn't miss a tackle, whatever it is. You know, you had the best. But there's other things that, you know, could have went wrong. So, but when you're in the cage, it's up to you. But I mean, I don't want it to sound selfish, as in it's just me in there, because it is still such a team sport in preparation. So so I don't want to sound selfish when I say that. I don't want to be knocking my coaches and my training partners, because I know how much work they put into my camps. But, you know, at the end of the day, the amount of work they put in for me, now I need to go out there. If I go out there and don't stick to a game plan and do the wrong things, I'm letting them down. I'm letting myself down. It's up to me to make sure all that preparation that we put in, you know, works. All that preparation, you know, gets you to where you are. You go out there and, again, listen to your heavy metal music or whatever it is, start losing focus, go out there and just a big adrenaline rush, start swinging, get yourself knocked out because of it. Now I just pretty much shitted on all my teammates, all my coaches. You get what I mean? So it is a big team effort. But again, I love the fact that it's on me in there. It's on me to sort of, with that outcome, you know, again, if I did everything that I need to do and lost, I know my teammates aren't going to be angry at me. I'll still apologize, because I'm my hardest critic. But, you know, it's, again, I don't think it's an ego thing for me, but I don't know. I don't know how to sort of answer that question when it comes to ego, but that's how I look at it as a team. I still think it's a team sport, but at the same time, when I'm in there doing my thing, I need to know that I put in everything that I could to get that win. And if I didn't, I'm shitting on my teammates. I'm shitting on myself. So again, that's why I'm always a hard worker, because I won't let that happen to myself.
I love that. And when you said that, I started thinking about Maya Angelou. And she said when she's walking on stage, she said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And that's something that I try to carry with me in my life. Everything I do, it's not yourself, right? It's all the people that have impacted you positively, and even the haters. All of those people are there, but you are the vehicle that are doing this and showing up right now. So that I just thought of that when we were talking right now.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Alex, I want to go a little bit deeper, because my goal is I study success, and I want to redefine success, and I want to tap into the minds of the brightest people in the world. And I love martial artists just like yourself. And especially someone like you that came and you did this. You came from a small town and you created something beautiful in your life with hard work. So I applaud you for that. Can you just share, like, what was the worst day of your life and how did it change you as a human being?
Worst day of my life. I really couldn't say a worst day of my life. There was when I talk about career, again, I fight for my family. Yeah. So that's what everything is about for me now. So especially when I was chasing the dream, anyone that knows martial arts know that there's not big money in the game, unless you're right at the top. Okay. So you are really, really struggling when you are in the game. So this is where it got really hard for me. So I made a promise to myself that I am going to be in the UFC before my first Ariana, she's my firstborn, before she was born. So I was like, because I was already like a multiple champion. Like I had national titles, I had world titles. I was on like a massive win streak. I had a decent following. Everyone was campaign after campaign. So I was like, I have to be in the UFC soon, surely. You know what I mean? So I was like that, and the wife got pregnant, and I'm like, I have to be. I was living with my mum at the time, and again, she's been nothing but supportive since day one, and still is, and that I appreciate that so much. But so while we were living there and struggling, she was working while I was chasing the dream. She's pregnant. It started getting really tough, especially when I've made promises to myself. The campaign after campaign, for some reason, it just wasn't happening. You start to think to yourself, is this just not going to happen? I know you're ready. I know you're good enough, but it's all about opportunity as well. And you need to sometimes get lucky as well. I know some people don't like to use the word luck, but opportunity needs to come your way. I'll do everything that I can to put myself in a position where I can take that. But when it comes to things like that, sometimes there's opportunity, someone getting injured or, whatever it is, sometimes that will have to come into play. And that's what I was like, is this just not going to come for me? And I was really starting to get to me. It was really starting to mentally get to me. I end up having my daughter, firstborn, and we're still living at home. I'm trying to concrete. And then the wife's like, look, we can't just live at your mum's forever. Like, what are we going to do? Like, and then I started thinking to myself, I'm going to have to start working and like not do this as a, not full time anymore, do this part time. And who knows where that would have took me. So I started really getting like that, and it's really started getting down on myself. So you can imagine the mental state. Again, I'm all about family. And I feel like I'm letting them down. So that's been probably the lowest point of my life. And, so I was, what do I do? What do I do? But I got lucky. So this story where things were really, really hard for me, it turned around pretty quickly. Luckily, I'm positive and I stick to things. I was so lucky the fact that happened. And then within that weekend, I think it was, I went from the lowest point. Like I remember I didn't even go, I was about to walk into my gym and then I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm done. Like I'm leaving. This was one session. I've never done it before. I left the session. My coach even rings me up. What's wrong? Something's up. That just shows you how much it was getting to me. I was thinking, man, do I need to go part-time? But I was like, I'll stick to it. Like, I won't give up on this. I'll still do it. But luckily that weekend, I ended up getting my main sponsor that really helped me and gave me this relief. Like, oh, wow, like this is a little open door. This will help me chase that dream that little bit more. And then the weekend after that, I got my UFC contract. So I literally went from my lowest point in my life to literally the highest point in my life within a couple of weeks. So I got lucky in that state. But the campaign after campaign, some people probably could have gave up, especially when the pressure was, again, you're letting your family down. But I mean, I believe in it. I know I can do this. I'm going to stick a little bit longer. And I'm letting my family down even more, a little bit longer. Luckily, I knew I was ready. I knew it was going to come. And then it finally got there. But again, it was hard. That was hard for me. Taking risks like that and putting my family's life in jeopardy. I say I put my family's life or our life on hold till I got that title. And that was hard for me. And if anyone knows what type of person I am, that was really, really hard for me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that and being so vulnerable here. And I mean, it's almost like the analogy 3 feet from gold, right? I don't know if you've seen that with the guy so close and turning around and the goal is right there. Uh, what do you want to say to other people right now that are listening to this and they're struggling in their life? They have a big dream. They want to do something, but they're down on their luck and they don't see that progress. What do you want to say to those people?
Man, try and stay as positive as you can, and hard work, no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be, even in business, hard work means so many different things. It means you're finding whatever angle you can that will lead to success, staying positive, even when there is a negative. And sometimes, even in my career, there's been such a big negative, but I would still look at the positives out of it. And, whether it was what really happened, probably not, but I mean, it got me mentally through it. So let me share another story. I always go so deep into these things, but like times where I was about to fight, massive fight, and then I got bad staph infection, MRSA, and, and I missed out on this fight. At the time, you're like, this was for a title, big title. And I was like, oh my God, like, what? You know what I mean? This is bad. But then I started thinking to myself, all right, maybe it wasn't meant to be just now. Maybe I wasn't, because I was struggling with my weight cut. Maybe it was because of that. That's probably why I got staph. Maybe I would have been healthy. Maybe I would have been underprepared because it was a short notice fight. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe, it's not meant to be. Maybe that, you're meant to fight someone else or whatever it is. And I would literally believe that, put that in my head, and that would be like, okay, whatever. And I would get over it. And or as little as, oh, at least you can eat now. At least you can eat some food. You know what I mean? Like, I'll find whatever positive,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'll find whatever positive I can. So that always got me through. Even when I got injuries and, I'd injure my arm. I'll be like, all right, well, now I can work on strength. I don't usually focus on my strength. Or now I'm working on mobility here because I can't do nothing else. And I never work on my mobility. So now I get to, really, really, work on different tools that I have. So in business or whatever people are into, that can go a long way. You might be struggling with this, but where else can you go? Where else can you focus on? Little things like that. I just think that if you're an athlete, just try and stay as positive as you can, because MMA is a roller coaster of emotions, a roller coaster of highs and lows. But you need to know how to prepare yourself for them lows. You need to know how to get yourself through them lows so you can reach them highs again.
And Alex, I'm curious, do you do any type of visualization, meditation? How do you work with your mind on a day-to-day and leading up to fights? Or is that just natural to you?
I think it's more natural. So a lot of people do that, they do their vision boards. I will do my visions. I will listen to music or whatever it is, and I'll picture myself winning, or I will do all that, but that'll just be heat of the moment things. I'm the type of person that I play what's in front of me. So if I'm at the gym, that's where I visualize everything about the fight, because that's what I'm there for. My 100% focus is on what I'm doing in the gym. But when I'm with my family, I'm 100% focused on them. I'm just daddy. When I'm home, I'm daddy. You know what I mean? I'm not a world champion anymore. I'm daddy. So, or when I'm talking to my mates, I'm that, 10 years ago playing rugby league, I'm that 97 kg front rower that I was. That's just how I am. I just play what's in front of me. So I don't know if many people are like that. I think a lot of people are, and I think it's cool, people having the vision boards and really visualizing. But, for me, I don't want to be, if I'm with my family, I want to be present with my family while I'm there. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit there and focus on everything else, so I will have my times where I really will, focus 100% on whatever it is. And usually when I'm in the gym, and I do a lot of hours in the gym, so I've got plenty of time to visualize while I'm training. But, then visualizations make me push harder in the gym every time too. So I'm picturing that end goal, like, oh, I'm fighting for the belt here. And I'm on that Aerodyne bike, and I'm like, you need to push that extra. You want that belt? Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm picturing myself how I'm winning that fight, but I know I need to work hard to get it. So I'm working that, So it's just I play what's in front of me, but I think I use that sort of mentality wisely. I think it really works for me, for who I am, but I don't know if that will work for everyone else.
Yeah. Now that's awesome. And I think people that can stay in the moment and be really focused, it's an amazing trait to have, because you can get so much more done in less time, right? And I just love that you have that natural, and there's probably some type of process to it, because you want to be the best at what you do, and you also want to be a great father and a great family man. And when you're with your friends, you're just a friend, right? uh,
Mhm.
Love that. Just want to go a little bit into what are your thoughts of your next fight? Do you think is it anything set in stone, or what's the kind of plan? Because we're at a standstill now, seems like.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we are in a standstill. I would have probably been fighting on the Perth card. Well, not probably. I definitely would have been headlining that Perth card against Max Holloway, most probably. So nothing was signed, but that was the fight that everyone wanted. I wanted myself. So again, I think just in our division, there's no one. There's no one number one contenders. There's no number one contenders right now. I truly do believe that. I think they're all one fight away from being that person. I could probably fight one of them, but I think for me, for my profile for right now, for me to move forward, for me to be, build my brand,
Yeah.
build my profile. The biggest fight for Perth card. This is how I was thinking. The biggest fight for Perth, the biggest fight for the UFC probably is that rematch with Max Holloway. So I'm game planning. That was my game planning around that. I was thinking, do I fight someone that probably doesn't really deserve that fight yet? It's not going to be as big of a fight because they're not really that number one contender. Look, if they have that next fight, everyone's going to be talking about them. And that fight that'll make sense for me. But right now, I think Max Holloway, not only was he a great champion, I respect that. I respect the person he was. So he does deserve it. He was a champion for a long time. He does deserve that rematch. But not just that, I think that's the biggest fight for the UFC. I think that was the biggest fight for the Australian cards, the biggest fight for me to have in front of my Australian fans, and the biggest fight for me in our division. So I look into all the things that will come fight. So I think that's what was next, and I still think that will be next. But we need to see what happens. Is
Yeah.
this fight island going to happen? I mean, is that
I
going to
know.
happen? Am I going to be traveling over there with a whole team of guys that again, we've got a team where a few of the guys are in the UFC. Do we all go there and go and camp on this isolated island and then all fight on the same card? Like, mate, I'm up for it. I'll do it. If I still think that's safe. I'm not putting anyone's. If we're isolating ourselves on an island,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can harm anyone that way. So that's starting to be like, oh, is this? You know what I mean? It's weird to actually think like these are crossing your mind, but I think you have to, you have to look outside the box right now because everything is outside the box and nothing's going normal right now.
Do you have, Alex, a hit list of people that you want to fight and want to defeat, or it doesn't matter who your opponent is?
The number one contenders, the next in line, whoever's the next in line, they're the target. They're on my hit list. That's it. There's 4 potential guys that are going to be, that's going to be the arrowhead aiming towards. You get what I mean? They're going to be my target, and that's going to be whoever it is, whoever puts themselves in that number one contender spot. So that's how I look at it. Do the UFC look at it different? I don't know, but I mean, we'll work something out. But at the end of the day, I believe in the ranking system. I believe in hard work. If people go out there and take that number one contender spot, they deserve the fight, and I'll take them out. All due respect.
Love it. And have you had any plans of going up? Because I know you even fought at welterweight in the beginning of your career.
Yeah, I fought a middleweight. I've
Oh,
fought a
even in
middleweight,
middleweight.
Miami. Yeah. So that's a look. It's man, old. Yeah, lightweight is definitely an option. I honestly think I could even go down if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I probably won't do that. I don't need to. I believe I'm strong and good enough to just stay in the featherweight for a long time or move up. So that's definitely something that I will talk about, or like if someone, if the UFC bring a big fight to me, I'll definitely look into it. But as I say, I'm not looking for that. I'm not chasing the lightweight division so I can avoid my number one contenders, so I can run away from my division. You get a lot of UFC fighters that will do that, but me, I ain't like that.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I want their best. I want the best guys. You bring me the best. At the end of the day, people want to, what's success, or people talk about legacy. Who do people remember? They remember the best fighters of all time. A lot of people think the blueprint is your Conor McGregor's. You have to talk. Everyone will remember him. Don't get me wrong. He's one of a kind. But everyone's trying to go that blueprint. They think that's the only way. You get so many people that, oh yeah, they start getting a bit of hype, but as soon as you lose, everyone forgets about you. Look at the people that will be legends forever. George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, all these types of guys. Why? Because they were the best. They always won. No one could beat them. You know what I mean? They'll always be remembered as the best, in their legacy will always stay strong because they were the best. So at the end of the day, beating your number one contenders will prove that you are the best fighter the featherweight division has ever seen. And that time will come where very, very soon, I believe, where people start throwing my name as one of the greatest featherweights of all time.
Love that. And it's funny that you say that, let them come to me, because I know when you were younger, you were in some street fights, and you claim that you never started them, but you were the one to finish them. Can you just talk about that? Like how did that go down, and why did you always stand your ground? Why is that important to you, to stand your ground?
I've always to the Alexander, the name Alexander is the meaning. If you look at the meaning, it means protector. So I've always been the type of person that I'll stand up to bully. If I see someone bullying someone else, I can't let it happen. So I would sit there and be like, try and stop it if I can, but I'll put myself in a position. I'm not going to let this big fella beat this little fella up. This guy doesn't want to fight. Why? So I will put myself in sort of positions where, it's most people just stay right away. But I mean, sometimes I just can't let that happen. The protector, Alexander, right? So when I was younger, that would happen. And I had a lot of mates that I've always looked older as well. So I was as tall as I am now. I literally had this beard when I was, 15, 16 years old. You know what I mean? So I've always looked older. So, I did get attention from older people to fight as well. So that happened. Or if there's a bit of trouble for some reason, a lot of the times, maybe because I looked older, the people would come straight to me. And I was always the one trying to stay away because I hate people starting trouble. But, being in parties and all that, there's always going to be, even your friends might sometimes stir the pot, and then people come. But for some reason, a lot of times they come to me. I don't know what it was. Maybe because I looked older, or whatever it was. But it happened. I was in position, being young and silly as well. Right now, I probably still would. If I seen that bully beating up on some little fella for no reason, I'll probably have to go in and do something anyway. Grab the guy and throw him to the floor, whatever it is. I wouldn't beat him up like I used to back then, but I would literally have to stop it. I think that's just who I am. But I don't know. I think that's just what it was. So even though I got into a lot of fights, everyone always knew I was a very respectful and guy that didn't start it. But for some reason, it would find me. Maybe because, I sort of did put myself in a position where I was close to it. I would at least want to watch. So sometimes the trouble would find me, or hanging around some smart ass friends as well. So that got me into some fights too.
Yeah. And Alex, everybody talks about like finding your mission in life and your why. So why is fighting and MMA so important to you?
Man, I've always loved martial arts. It's just something that I've always had a passion for. Whether it was as you said at the start, on the intro, or I think it was the intro where you were talking about, I wasn't even fighting at the time, and I was picturing being the world champion. You know what I mean? It's just something that I've always loved. Boxing, whatever it was. WWE, I even loved that because it was pretend fighting, whatever you want to do. So I've always loved that type of stuff. And I wrestled when I was younger. Wrestling wasn't big in Australia, but I still didn't mind it. I thought, it's cool. It's still a martial art. It's still, competitive, use it, whatever it was, it was something about that I've always loved it. Some people say it's in our blood, but I've just always loved it. So it's always been something that I've always thought I'd eventually do, even when I wasn't doing it. And it's just funny. Again, I think there would be a lot of people that would still tell themselves that, oh, I'm going to be UFC champion one day. I'm sure a lot of people think that, but to go out there and do that, it's actually pretty crazy before you're even training. I think that's amazing, but it just shows you that there's always been a passion there.
Yeah. It's super cool. And, we hear people say all the craziest shit, but there's so few that actually do it. And for example, right now, we've seen so many people with I have the strongest mindset, I'm doing this, but when the shit hits the fan, why do you think you still actually you move forward and you actually do it? What's so special with you that you are doing that?
Adapt. You just need to adapt. On, like, that's the word that I've been using a fair bit while this whole corona virus is going. Again, you need to adapt in every situation, no matter where you look at it, whether it's your mental state or at work or in the housework with the kids. Things aren't going to run smoothly all the time. Things are going to go off plan. You're going to have a plan and things aren't going to go that way. So if you've got a plan going this way and it ends up taking a turn, I could sit there, throw my hands up and be like, far out, this is, and dwell on it and then just let it roll on. Be negative towards it and let it roll on and just go on a downward spiral. Or I'm going to be like, far out. What can I do? I'm going to try and fix that. Whether I'm fighting, same thing. Like, again, I'll adapt. I hurt my leg. I've got these that I can use. I've got my other leg I can use. I can work on this. I'm going to adapt to this situation. I'm always adapting. I've always done that, no matter what is it. And that's how I believe even training, I've always adapted to what's there and adapted to a shape of a person that I'm sparring against, adapted to, a world champion, jiu-jitsu guy that's going to kick my ass. All right, but I instead of me just tapping every 2 minutes, how can I, still make this competitive? How can I still get something out of this? All right, my goal is I'm not going to let him tap me out. So, whatever it is, I'm going to adapt to this situation. I'm going to do things a little different because that'll help me, again. Or I can just do this always works for me. But I mean, this is not going to work against a world champion grappler. So I need to mix things up. I need to adapt. I need to do things differently. So or I'm a striker, but I'm versing the best striker in the world right now. I need to adapt. I need to use all other tools, whether it is, pretend I'm taken down so I can do different things, or I do take them to adapt to every situation. That's something that, again, I end up going real deep with these things, but just adapt. Have to adapt to what's in front of you. If you're constantly doing that your whole life, you become comfortable in uncomfortable positions. So right now this is uncomfortable, but I've adapted. I'm doing workouts in my room. I'm doing more podcasts because that can help my profile. I'm on social media more. I'm adapting. All right, I can't be in the gym 4 times a day, so I'm going to adapt. I'm going to do whatever I can right now. So that's a good word, adapt. Understand what I mean by the word adapt. It's pretty obvious what I mean, but you can use that in so many different ways.
Yeah. Like Bruce Lee said, be water, my friend.
Yeah. Mate, he was a smart man.
Yeah.
He was a smart man for back in the day. Some of the stuff that you hear, it's again, like the way you would say it, and then if you really try and use it in your own way and you can really understand what he's trying to say, no matter what you do in life, like I believe it works, like the principles of what he's saying. It's man, he was too smart for back then, I believe, like
It's
what he knew back
incredible.
then.
Yeah. He
It is.
studied philosophy and he found a correlation with philosophy and martial arts and life, right? And that's what makes it so beautiful. And that's why I love martial arts. And a lot of people think it's just punching someone in the face. It's the least it is, right? I want to walk through. Can you just go back in time to your walk in when the night you became a UFC champion, and just tell me what were going on in your head, and then also on your walkout, what's going on in your head? How do you feel?
Again, I'm trying to keep myself composed and normal. That's one thing that I'm always trying to do, but at the same time, there's a purpose. So when I'm in training, we're talking about like, again, I'm selfish. I need to work hard. I need to do this, So I'm 100% committing myself to everything that'll get me to be the best I can be. But for the outcome of, I have to win. I've got a family back home. I've got a family back home, waiting back home for me to bring this belt back home to them. Yeah, to bring this early Christmas. This was before Christmas. I want to bring that early Christmas present back to my house. So I'm going in there with a purpose. I've got a game plan. I've worked hard. I've done all this. And the purpose is, to win for my family, for, you know what I mean? Not for my legacy, for my country, for my team, for my family. So I'm doing it not for me, not selfish, like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say that, but it's for such a bigger cause, and that's my purpose. So again, I need to stay composed. I'm going in there being like, all right, you got a game plan to do. You got to keep composed. Don't let it get to you. You got kids at home. Wait, you haven't left your family for no reason. You've left them because you've got to go out here and do your thing. I literally, that's my thought process going into fights. Almost every fight, I literally think of my family, and I think of, all right, you're away from your family right now. You better capitalize on all this time away from them. There must have been a reason for that. There was a purpose of you being away from your family when your family is everything. Why have you been away from them? Because I need to win. I need to bring that money back to them. That's why. And I ain't letting anyone take that away from me. I refuse to lose. So that's my thought process going in. And then my thought process going out, relief. I did it. I can, I bring that win back to my family. I've done my family proud. You get what I mean? So that's what I mean by the relief. I put it. So when I'm going in, I'm keeping myself composed, but there's still so much on the line. I'm just so good at keeping myself composed and level-headed, but there is so much on the line. So much on my line, but because I'm keeping myself level-headed the whole time, once it's done, I could, let go of relief. I'm like, oh, yes, I've done it. You know what I mean? I don't need to stay composed anymore, like whatever. You know what I mean? Let the feelings fly. So I feel it more a little bit after my fight. But then I forget about it pretty quick. I go backstage and I'm talking to the boys. I'm just having a laugh, and and I'm me again. But it's good. The relief feeling is unreal for me, because a lot of physical and mental abuse has been going for the last 12 weeks to get to that get to where I am.
I love that, and I think what it comes down to is you're already feeling worthy. I've interviewed a lot of people that done a lot of crazy shit, and a lot of people go after just to be loved, but they don't realize that they're already worthy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like you already feel worthy. The performance is just happens to be because of the work you have done.
Yeah, I get that. Yes, so that's exactly right. So that's man, it's weird. I used to love this sport. I do love this sport. I still love it. I used to do this sport because it was a passion. I believed I was good at it. But then once I had a family, then that was my main. All right, so this is your career path. Again, my family is everything to me. I've always been a family man, and I pride myself on that. Everything's got to do with that. So everything I do is the purpose around my family now. So successful. I need to be successful. And how am I successful? I fight. I'm a UFC fighter. So me winning and taking that belt is how I'm going to be successful for my family. So that means hard work. That means all this other stuff I'm doing is just for that end result, is so I can be successful for my family. So, you know what I mean? So that's just a part of, my passion or my motivation, and all that is for my family and my, Australia and my team and all that type of stuff. But, because that is such a big motivation for me, that's why I work so hard in that whole everything else. It's not, that's why I think, I think so deep in why, it goes as little as when I'm learning a technique, and, I was telling you how I really want to understand it. It's not because I want to be the best martial artist in the world. I want to be the best martial artist in the world so I can be successful for my family. I could honestly tell you that right now. That is why I need to be the best fighter in the world, is so I can be as successful as I can, so I can bring that money back to my family. And I don't know if that sounds boring, but for me, there is no bigger motivation. And you're seeing me, if you watch me in the gym, or you hear me talk now, or you see what I've done, like I won the world title, and then to know I literally just done that for my family. It's weird. Some people, I don't know how they want to take it, but that's just me. And I don't care what anyone says. That's my motivation. When I hear people say they fight for legacy, I wouldn't say I disagree with it, because that is their main motivation. Me, it's legacy will just come with me fighting for my family. The legacy, if I become, one of the best of all time, and that's my legacy, whatever. That's just in the process of me being successful for my family. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It does. It shows that what you're doing it's the most beautiful thing ever. So thank you for doing that and for sharing that. And I know you're still fighting for the gym where you started, and that shows character, that shows loyalty. And those those are the traits that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you can feel good about yourself, making the right decision, which is hard, especially when you
Hmm.
become better and when people are pulling you in all directions. So that's amazing. Stay true to yourself, and I applaud you for that. I have two more
Thank you.
questions, and then I'll let you go. I know you have maybe some training to do after this. Thank you
All
for
good.
waking up so early, by the way. Do you always wake up this early?
I got the kids. Kids are up early. Don't worry about that. So I had an alarm set so I could be ready. I wanted at 6:30 so I could have a coffee and then be ready for this. But
No.
the kids are up before then anyway. So I don't even know why I bother with an alarm sometimes. But just in case, right?
Just in case, yeah. Alex, so do you think happiness and success walk hand in hand? Are they aligned, or are they two different things?
I I think yeah. I think they are. I think setting goals. Uh, is it just success? Maybe not just success. Sorry, accomplishing goals, setting goals from as little as during the day. If you're doing day by day, you got goals that you got. Whether it's for me, I got to get my morning session in. You know what I mean? I want to eat pretty good. There's little goals that I'll set. I want to give my family attention. So if I can go and do that, knock off these goals during the day, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, that was a productive day. I feel good. I feel happy. Yeah. So I really am like that. And I notice even with the wife, sometimes, you get in a bit of a rut, and then the happiest I see her is when we, even cleaning the house, you know what I mean? Like, you might look at that as like, oh, far out, I've got to clean the house. But once you finish that house, how good does that make you feel once it's done? When you're about to train, sometimes you're like, oh man, I'm sore. Do I want to train? You finish that session, you're like, I'm so glad I've done that session. Yeah, I knocked that goal off. If you're constantly doing that during the day, I believe that, whether it's true happiness, there's so much that can come into play with happiness, but I believe that can really help with the mental side of things during the day, during the week, during the year. And I just think if you could knock off goals, that's why a lot of people have goals, you know what I mean? Once they knock them off, they're accomplishing them goals, and that makes them happy. And I really do believe that. That's something that if I ever hear an inspirational story about someone that was in a big rut and then come out of it, I end up seeing the process from them going back to who they are, and happiness was them accomplishing them goals again. Even like Tyson Fury, you hear him, he was a champion. He accomplished it, and then he was over it. He didn't want to, you know what I mean? He didn't care anymore, and he went through a bad run. Then he started, like, he didn't care about fighting. He already accomplished that goal. He was a champion. He beat Klitschko. He didn't care. And then, then he was, you know what? I want to train again. I want to train again. I want to get fit again. I want to compete again. Then he started getting this drive to be champion again. And, him training, and then he had started setting goals during the day. And that's what I noticed. He started setting goals again. And then once he was accomplishing these goals on a day-to-day basis, and, even fight-to-fight basis, he's happy. Now he's happier than ever. And he's realized now fighting is just my happiness. Why? It's because probably that routine that he goes through. Knock this goal off, knock that goal off. I don't know. I believe routine, knocking goals, I really do believe that leads to happiness. So success, and I still think that leads to success as well, knocking them goals.
Yeah.
So does that sort of answer the question? Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think it
love
does.
that. Alex, so let's just imagine you're 87 years old. You're sitting at a rocking chair outside your house, maybe overlooking the ocean or whatever your favorite spot is, and you're just contemplating about your life. What do you want to have seen before you kick the bucket?
What do I want to see?
And then what do you want to
Did you
have
say?
done or seen or accomplished, or what's the most important things for you when you look back on your life?
Look, this is something I take so much pride in. The fact that I got to be the world champ, I got to shoot for them ranks. I got to be the world champ. I got to be the best fighter, and I got to be me the whole way through. I got to be me. And when I say that, I didn't have to be someone I wasn't to lead to success. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on people that do that. Look at you get a lot of guys that will have their gimmicks. They'll have their things for success. And don't get me wrong, it works for them. It doesn't work for some people. It looks actually cringe and ridiculous, but it's still, might lead to their success. So I get that. But me, I take pride in, I've always, a lot of people, having morals or trying to be humble or just being who I, you know what I mean? I'm not going to shit on people to put me in a better position. That's just not who I am. And for me to go out and be successful and knock these goals off and, do all that and, and still be me the whole way through, I just think it's unreal. So that's what I love as what I'm doing right now. I hope it doesn't change and I won't let it change. So yeah, if I look back, I want to be able to know that, I got to, my family got to live the best life they could. And I got to be me the whole way through it. I got to do what I love. I love fighting. I'm so glad that I'm a hard worker, that I get to do this. But, it's just everything. So I'm very happy with where we are right now. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I need to be more successful for my family. But again, I just need to be me the whole way through. I want people that I might have, Conor McGregor will have his billions of fans, and I won't have as many fans, but I know the people that my fans are going to be people that believe in me, that love me for who I am and really appreciate what I do and who I am. So that's, that means something more to me. And again, once a lot of these guys lose, everyone forgets about them. I know if I was a loser, it ain't going to happen. But if I lose, I know the people that, they're still going to want me to bounce back. They want me to bounce back and win because they believe in who I am. And I think that's cool. And I'll be proud of that.
That's super cool. And I think that's what we're all trying to do in our lives, to really be ourselves. And it's super tricky and we all struggle with it. So I applaud you for that, and that you're doing that on a high level, because it's harder the more success you get, because all of a sudden people are pulling you, they're expecting things from you, and staying true to yourself. That's amazing. Last question, Alex. I love sharing stories, but at the end of the day, my mission is to help at least 10 million people to go after their dreams. So right after this podcast, I want them to take action to get a little bit closer to what they really want in their life. So what would be the first step that they can do?
I mean, for me, something that we've sort of talked about and what they can get through this podcast is, don't just go through the motions. Especially if you are committing to a business or a sport, don't rock up at the gym and just go through the motions. You want to go there you want to go there 100% focused. You want to learn something. You want to, again, understand why you're doing them movements, little things like that. From day one in the gym or whatever you're doing, if you're going to commit to something, commit. And when I mean commit, it doesn't mean just doing it. It means understanding it. And each day, how can I get better at what I've committed to? So I just believe at try and better yourself in all areas of whatever you commit to. If that makes sense, I think whether it is hard work and putting yourself in a position where, all right, things might get uncomfortable as well. That sort of leads into that as well. As like, I'm going to make sure I'm working hard day in, day out. So in 10 years time, hard work's just normal for me, or, you tell me a movement. I understand the principles of that. That can help me in life, and that can help me with so many different techniques. Just understand what you're doing. You get what I mean? If you're committing to something, don't just go through the motions. Capitalize on that hour you spent in the gym. Capitalize on that hour spent on whatever you've committed to. Capitalize on it. Make it effective.
That's great. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm a fan for life. I love what you do, and especially not just as a fighter, as a human being. So thank you for being true to yourself, and just keep rocking it. We're here to support you. If people want to connect with you, where's the best way?
Yeah, just on my social media is always good. So at Alex Volkanovski, my Twitter handle, and my Instagram, or on Facebook if you got the Facebook, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. So you can get me on that. I've got a website running as well, so stay tuned for that. Everything's going to be going through there. So make sure you stay tuned and stay safe.
Thank you, Alex. And thank you, everybody that listened and watched today. We are doing this not for us. We're doing this for you guys. So take some action, be committed. Actually, don't just go after the motion, like Alex said. really do something with your life. Otherwise, this time is wasted for you and for us too. So please do something. Give us some love. Share this with somebody that needs to hear Alex's message, that wants to improve in life. Check out my website, ilovesuccess.co. I have a couple of free chapters of my book, The Goal Book, where you can learn how to set goals and knock them things off, because it do makes you happy. And we also have almost 180 episodes now with amazing fighters, entrepreneurs, Olympians, and just overall incredible human beings sharing open-heartedly. Thanks again, and talk to you soon. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.